All right, let's welcome in our guest joining us this hour, criminal defense attorney Sam Bassett. Sam, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to get your reaction to this guy being caught. And the thing that jumps out at me is, you know, it seems to have avoided something that could have happened here because he's going around trying to open doors. And the fact that he's in custody certainly has to make the people in that community feel better, because certainly it looked like perhaps if he would have gotten into one of those doors, perhaps there would have been more tragedy in this case.
For sure. This is just a terrible situation for the members of those communities, especially since he's trying to get into houses or structures. It could have been really dangerous. It could have been much worse. I think this obvious evidence of flight will be used against him at his trial. But what a sigh of relief for the people in those communities.
Yeah, sigh of relief for sure. And they said the community can now rest easy. They are safe from Austin Drummond. But I have to mention this. Here's the video that you were just talking about, Michael. And the reality is, I think, Sam, this to me says he's getting desperate, because I do not believe he would walk up to a door to see if it's open. This day and age, we can all assume there's a ring camera of some sort, because most people tend to have them. And therefore, his whereabouts might be known. So I'm a little surprised he's seen doing this on video. He didn't run very far.
True. I think he's probably looking for some food and water or just some sustenance. But, you know, the thing is, people sleeping inside the house, startled by somebody like that, what a volatile situation that could be, especially if the homeowners are armed, certainly if they're not armed and he confronts them. So it's just a nightmare for somebody who lives in a rural area to have somebody like that wandering around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because guys like this, you know, they're not equipped to be on their own out in the elements for 7 days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At some point, you're going to try to come in, and that's basically probably what happened here. Quickly, I want you to speak to the community aspect of this case. They really gave kudos to the community. This would not have been solved without the help of the community, getting his name out there, getting his face out there, all of those things so important to solving cases and crimes like this.
For sure. I mean, in the days of today's day of social media and internet and just regular media, things like this spread like wildfire. People talk about it, people text about it, people put messages and pictures up on social media. It's very difficult to get away with anything for too long now.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Sam, we want you to stand by.
So what we can tell from this is there was...
All right, let's bring back in our guest still with us, criminal defense attorney Sam Bassett. Sam, you know, we've had plenty of cases where there's no body, and sometimes it can be a problem, sometimes not. More often than not, I've seen on court TV, it's not a problem. Here, they don't know exactly where or when she was killed, the victim in this case. How big of a problem is that for the prosecution?
Well, it is a problem. Obviously, the prosecution would rather have a certain crime scene where the killing occurred, but the fact that there's bloodstains on a futon and on the flooring, it's the building blocks of the prosecution's case. It is a bit of a circumstantial case, but they're building the blocks one by one on the case, and this is obviously the foundation of where things started.
And if you look at it all together, I would agree it's the foundation. Of course, we'll have to get to testimony about whether or not that is her blood, whether or not there's any DNA found in the tubs, for instance, belonging to the defendant. I don't expect that there is. So adding all those things together, it is a case where I think that it's the opportunity for that defense to point a finger and say, no, it's this other guy they were in fear of, has more room to fit given the circumstantial nature.
That's true. I think, you know, this is a case pretty unlikely the defendant will testify because the defense has to be that they haven't proven where and how the killing occurred and who did it. So it's going to be interesting to watch it all unfold after the government gets through with their case.
You know, Sam, we've seen a million times, you know, this defense of somebody else did it, right? But this is a case where they've actually named someone as probably clearly not his name, if the person even exists. What does the defense have to do? Does it kind of shift the burden to them? They've got to show that this guy, you know, Jim McIntyre existed. I got about 30 seconds, Sam.
Yeah, I think they got to have some extrinsic evidence. Obviously, if the defendant testifies, he can make that claim. But if there's other messages or texts or something like that, that could help their case as well.
Ooh, that would help
They
their
gotta have
case. We'll
something,
see
yeah.
if they have it or not. Thank you so much, Sam Bassett, as always, for joining us.